Greetings, magnificent souls, to the Attract Health, Build Wealth podcast, where we have open and honest discussions about ourselves. This is a place where we break down, break away, and break through codependency, allowing ourselves to attract health, build wealth, and live a peaceful life. We are tired of being sick and tired. We are tired, but we are not giving up. We know that there is something magnificent inside of us because we are fighting daily, hourly, and by the minute, fighting ourselves, our kids, our spouses. We have to do things differently. We have to break the cycle. We don't have a million chances. We have to be happy now. We have to find a way. So how do we do that? How is that possible? If you look around at what society is telling you, they tell you that what we're doing is impossible. Yet it's happening every single day. And it's happening through the practice and the love that we call awakening the magnificent soul. We are all magnificent souls, and these are our stories of healing. Today in episode 24, something that I've been thinking about lately is expectations. Expectations on us and expectations of others, and the way that expectations weave such a tangled web in our lives. But before we get into the discussion, don't forget to let me know your thoughts about this episode, any feedback you have, or anything you'd like me to cover on future podcasts at epiphanyvault.com. Remember, you can share anonymously. It is a safe place, and I would welcome the discussion. So the subject of expectations came up as I was thinking about an entry into the Epiphany Vault from a listener. The writer wished to remain anonymous, but it got me thinking about my life too. And expectations are such a funny thing. They have this weird way of taking over our lives without us even knowing it. So I thought I'd explore that a bit. Expectations are what I call the manifestations of future projections. They're the pressures that we feel or that we exert on others to fit within our paradigm in our lives. Expectations can be conscious, they can be unconscious, but they emphasize somewhat of a discontent with our current situation and status. From the dictionary, expectations are beliefs that something will happen in the future, or that someone will or should achieve something. From the beginning, we grow up with a lot of expectations, the way we look, the money we make, the degrees we earn, the marriage, the kids, and on and on and on and on. And as we begin to develop relationships with others, whether we know it or not, we do expect certain things from them, certain actions and certain reciprocities, for example. Often, if those expectations aren't met, especially for codependent people like me, we blame ourselves for these shortcomings. Think about it. How many times have you asked yourself, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? After all, I'm nice to people. I do and have done everything that I was supposed to do. And in a previous life, I hardly ever said no. In a weird way, expectations are a tool for control and empowerment. There are expectations on us in which we are controlled by others, controlled by society, or controlled by outside forces. And there are expectations by us in which we attempt to control outcomes through others. Both, in my opinion, are self-defeating. And we know that at the root of codependency is a meteoric imbalance of power. And when we talk about expectations in codependency, it's interesting to see the cyclical nature of codependency rearing its ugly head again. Expectations seem to me to only feed that dysfunctional cycle. And expectations have a voracious appetite. It's like the hungry, hungry hippo of the mind, never satisfied. And with that dissatisfaction comes self-hatred and blame. All of this may sound super negative to hear. You know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, isn't it good to have expectations? Aren't expectations like goals? And goals are good, right? Yeah, of course. I do think goals are an important part of life, and damn, it feels good. When we reach a goal, it feels damn good. It feels like euphoria. It's a world conquering, blood rushing feeling. But here's the call out. That is the up that you're feeling, and the up and down, the imbalance. And, a lot of what I was just talking about was touching on the negative aspects of expectations. But as Eckhart Tolle and many other spiritual leaders explain, any type of expectation pulls you further and further from your present moment. And more of that to come. But think about it. What's going on in your life right now in which you feel dissatisfaction? If you were to dig deeper into it, my guess is that a root cause would be related to expectations on you or by you. And peeling off the layers one by one, does it boil down to what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Why can't I? Why can't they? I should. They should. If only. Y'all, that's expectations hitting you in the face. If you are hearing these questions in your mind, can you see that? What do you think about it? How many of these questions do you ask yourself daily? And to be completely honest, at least 20 times a day for me. And when you can't answer these questions, when your conscious mind just can't wrap it up in a nice, neat box, how do you feel? Me, I feel anger, I feel resentment, I feel frustration, I feel bafflement, I feel in the wrong, like it's my fault. But now for the good news. If you've gotten this far on my rant, we've broken through a self-reflection barrier. If you're understanding where I'm coming from, so thanks for sticking with me. We are calling out that expectations in the end make us feel like shit because it screams unease with myself and my life right now. Now let's break away from that bad boy. Let's start living our lives. And here's what Eckhart says about expectations. Instead of creating expectations of what should or should not be happening, cooperate with the form that this moment takes. Bring a yes to the isness, because it's pointless to argue if it already is. A greater intelligence is available to you when you no longer reject, deny, or don't want what is. Do you see what he's saying? He's saying that anything that takes us away from the present moment, in this case, we were talking about expectations, detaches us from where we are right now. Does that make sense? And think about it. How blissful would it be to go about your day and not ask all of those questions about yourselves and others? With my awakening and coming into my presence, there is a release and acceptance in this practice. I am who I am. They are who they are now. And when I catch myself in the throes of self-negligence and self-pity, the awareness that is present helps me cut those ties. The Serenity Prayer is another good example of this. Accept the things I cannot change. Release, accept. Release, accept. Release, accept. Thanks for joining me today, magnificent souls. Until next time, living and loving.